Hello, Papa Nicola here with our math session of the day. Today, I want to talk about a couple of very challenging questions that you see on the GED math and ways to approach them so we're not overstressed and we don't develop a lot of anxiety over them as far as how we go after them. So I'm going to go straight to the topic here. I'm going to show you those questions that a lot of students have a hard time overall answering them and also taking a look at as far as how to even start the problem. So let's start with our first question right here. We have this function f of x equals x squared minus 6x. And sometimes even this can cause a lot of anxiety and stress as far as how do we go after this. A lot of times students take a look at um, this particular area here, which I'm going to change my pen really quickly just so then I can show you. So they take a look at this area right here, this f of x, and they think that the f and the x, they have something to do with one another. Maybe the x being inside the parenthesis needs to be multiplied with the f. So just a lot of things are going on when we have this symbol. But again, we just have to think of this as just a symbol. Nothing is going to change the outcome here. And as you can see, they are looking for f of -8. All that means is just taking aside the f, not worrying about what does f represent, what is a function, what does that do. Just think about what's inside the parenthesis, and you see inside the parenthesis an x, and that x seems to have become now -8. So just like when we're pricing a product, we put a sticker on a product, same thing here we put a value, a sticker on the X. So we're going to take the -8 and we're going to replace it here and there. Wherever there's an X, X now is not an X anymore, but it is a -8. And that's all this problem is about. So I'm going to take the -8 here and I'm going to square it because you can see the 2 there. And then I'm going to minus 6 times, instead of x, I'm going to put a negative 8. Couple of things to keep in mind here is that when you have two negatives, um, the two negatives become positive. So opposites attract, but same sign repel, they disappear. So think of a little bit of science, like two positives just go away. It's positive. Two negatives, they go away. It's positive again. So -8 squared, that's going to give us here a 64. So I'm going to put a 64 here next to it. You can also plug this on the calculator. The hardest part about this question is to figure out what is that f and y and what does it do with the x, which we talked about how that is nothing. It's just replacing the x. And then 6 times 8 is 48. You notice every time there's negatives, they disappear. So these two negatives here, they become positive. And then also here, there are two negatives because of the two that it's there. After that, you have a 64 that you want to add to the 48. So I'm going to add them on the side in here. And again, the negatives disappear because there were two in the first area and 2 on the next one. 4 plus 8 is 12. 2, we're going to carry a 1. And then 6 plus 4 is 10. And then 1 is 11. So 1, 1, 2 here we see as option D. If you plug this on the calculator, you would have gotten the same answer. Key here when you see the word function is to not worry too much about that word and not panic over understanding functions, domain, range, the graphs, the points, the coordinate plane. Those are all very important. But as far as solving a problem, being a good test taker and a problem solver, you have to be critical and visual and take a look at what is going on in here. And all this is pricing a product. The product is X, the product has become now -8. So anytime I am scanning this, let's say if I was a cashier or if I'm looking at the product and I want to know what the value is, it's -8. As far as the double negatives, that is something that we have to keep in mind, that they go away as you're doing this. Okay, now let's take a look at the next question here. The next question is very similar to a lot of these functions again, and graphs and slopes and intercepts, which are some terms that a lot of our math students are scared about mentioning them and trying to figure them out. The slope of a function, the slope of a graph, the pattern. Um, it's something that has been challenging, the percentage, the rate of change. So all of these things can be challenging here. But the easiest way to approach this is to take a look at how this is a multiple choice test. And we obviously want to find a whole equation here. But my focus in this case will be to try and see the uniqueness behind the answer. We know there's y's and x's, and we know some of you might be thinking of the equation of a line, which is y equals mx plus b. But others might be new to this and say, I have no idea. I cannot remember this equation of a line. So but the number in front of X shows you the pattern, right? Just like with the previous question, like how many X's are you getting? Are you getting four, like option A? Are you getting two of them? Are you getting three? Are you getting five? And how do we get that? Well, we take a look at the pattern, right? We take a look at these 2 points here. We take a look at the y and the x. So when you have a point, you always have an x in the beginning, just like in the alphabet, X comes before Y. So same thing with the point. First is the X, then is the Y. And what we do is we do some sort of a pattern. First we find the Y, then we find the X, and we create a fraction. So if we take a look at the Y, we went from 10 to -6. So we basically moved 16 units, right? Um, Think of it like that. You owe $6, and then now all of a sudden you have 10 in your account, right? So you paid six back to get your account to zero, and then you put another 10. So 16 total, moving from -6 to 10. You can also think of it from -6 to zero. It's six positions, and then another 10 is 16. We're going to put the Y on the top, and then now we're going to look at the X's. It seems like we moved from -5 to 3. And again, from -5 to 0 is 5. And then from 0 to 3 is 3. So 5 and 3 is 8. So be careful there. It's not -2. It's not 3 minus 5. It's thinking about how many spots you moved. Whether it's negative or positive, it doesn't matter because your reference point is the origin, the 0. So -5 to 0 is 5 units. And then 0 to 3 is 3 units. Total distance is 8. And then 16 divided by 8 is 2. And so that means we have two x's. We are getting two x's as we are looking into this graph. And as you can see here, option B is the only one with the x being 2, or you can see the 2 in front of x. And that is a quick solution. Very simple solution if you look at the work that I put in, comparing that to what an Algebra 1 or Algebra 2 book will tell you. This is a multi-step process. First you find the slope, then you find the y-intercept, or some students might be graphing those points in the xy coordinate plane. This would be a critical thinking way of doing this. And most importantly, anyone can do those two questions. Although they are the two most challenging questions on the GED math exam, my goal here for this video is to make you believe that anyone can solve these two questions. The first question was tagging the x with -8 and replacing it. And the second one was to look at a pattern. How does the y and the x change? And that is, again, what the number is that it's in front of x. That's telling us how is the x changing into the graph. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll be back with more videos the rest of the semester. Have a good day.